Hello, and welcome to another series of interviews themed Life After Alpine. Today we have with us Mr. François Jouenne-Peyrat, who is a culinary arts graduate who graduated at 2017, a French student who will talk to us today about his post-graduation experience from Alpine. Hello, Mr. François, how are you?
Hello, good afternoon. I'm good. How about yourself?
We're very good. We're very glad to have you here with us. And we're really happy for this interview. So, without further ado, we would like to know, first of all, about your experience launching your first professional job after graduating Alpine, and how did Alpine Center prepare you for this job?
All right. Well, I think it's essential to mention if you want to talk about the first job I had upon graduation, I think you have to mention first the internships because those are the key elements I believe that prepare you to actually get a hands-on job because you just don't simply have some theories somewhere in the back of your mind and first stuff that you've never applied. No, at least you're supposed to already have applied all those supposed knowledge. So first thing I would mention is the internship. And what is great about Alpine Center is that internship is broad. Internship is something you must do, but it remains really up to you how you want to do it, in which context, where you want to do it. Like every possibilities are open in Alpine as long as you try to reach out for them. So this is why I first want to talk about this. I did my first internship. I canceled all my plans last minute to go to a little African island where I knew no one, and everything happened very last minute. And this is what prepared me the most for my first job because I ended up being in Zanzibar, an island where I knew no one. I knew nothing, didn't know the language, didn't know the locals, wasn't even supposed to be there a month before. And I went there and really had to adapt myself and discover something new. And especially what I learned the most is to adapt to new people and new places. And this is, I think, what was the most useful in my first job upon graduation. If we actually talk about job upon graduation, after graduating from Alpine Center, I moved to the Netherlands, where I tried to find a job, which was pretty easy. I'll be honest with you. I printed some CVs, dropped them in the city, and I was called literally by everyone back within the same day. So that was pretty easy to find a job. And then, how Alpine did help me, as I said, adaptation capacities, and also the fact that when you're in Alpine, you don't simply cook, but you learn about menu planning, you learn about cost, and you learn about all these things that are usually always behind the scene, in the kitchen at least, that's what I'm talking about, because way too many people believe that a chef, cooks and that's all he does. It's just behind his oven or behind his pan and saute some eggs and do that. No, that's that's not all the job. This is a big part of the job, but another big part of the job is all those very theoretical based things that you have to do as a chef or even as a sous chef or chef de partie, for example. And those you're very well trained in Alpine about that because you can apply them really, really well. And to me, that's been the biggest strength because many people will probably come to Alpine as a culinary students hoping to get the most out of great chefs, which they will obviously do. The chefs teaching in Alpine are among the best chefs in Greek land currently. So you definitely get great experience. But I think what is tremendously precious is this theory that you really learn and that you will need with you when you come to the first job. And I'm coming in the first job and I have this feeling that there's a lot of back theoretical knowledge that I'm really aware of, and I see many other cooks not even caring about it, while this is what the business is about. Of course we love to cook, of course we love to please people, this is our job, but business remains business, and this is important to be aware of all the things, and Alpine is such a great place to learn about those. This is probably, I think, what was the most interesting to me, despite the practical knowledge that I got in Alpine. For sure.
We're very happy to know that you felt well prepared for your career before entering it. And I would like to ask you the next question, which is...
Maybe, can I add something, maybe?
For sure, yes, please.
Also, one thing that has helped me a lot and that I've acquired in Alpine is self-discipline. This this has also been probably a big trigger for me to start some kind of new life, because I remember our dear director in Alpine Center. It's not always been easy with me, like, because I had issue with discipline in the beginning, and I wouldn't necessarily go by the rules because I didn't want to respect the rules, because I do not like rules, which can be a problem, but can also be, I believe, a really good quality to trigger originality and dynamics. It's a good balance to find. But I found this balance in Alpine. I've become a much more disciplined person, because you cannot work in the culinary world, at least in an actual running kitchen, if you do not have discipline. And I'm going to be honest with you. I am now studying alongside my cooking job that is full-time. I also have a catering company that I opened myself, that we can talk maybe a bit later on. But I'm also now studying something completely different. I'm studying basically diplomacy and political science is what I do. And let me tell you something, I have acquired so much self-discipline, and when it comes to work and giving yourself the means of what you want to achieve, that despite having a full-time job, running a company and studying full-time, I still have the time that I need to meet up with my friends and do everything I have to do, because I've acquired this discipline in Alpine, which the teachers will give you, but not only the teachers. There is some kind of very good dynamics in Alpine, at least in my class, that's how it was, that I wouldn't call it competition, I would call it like very healthy dynamics, because we were really pushing each other to become better and everything, but that could only be done through proper discipline with the chef, and how we do things right. So yeah, this I really want to add, because that's something I found a lot in Alpine. And you asked me about my first job. Obviously I got a first job, but I also like to be independent. So as I said, I opened a catering company. I'm only doing corporate buffet style food. I basically provide food for universities when they have an event, or different organizations or companies, because I'm in the Netherlands, where lots of international organizations are here, so I cook for them, and that's what I do, those kind of little things. And that wasn't my first job, but that was my first business, hopefully not the last one. And one thing that I got in Alpine is this very entrepreneurial spirit, kind of, because we are really pushed to not necessarily come up with a business and create a business right away, but we are pushed to innovate, to create new things, be original. What, do you have an idea? Yeah, okay, just put it down on paper. How can you do that? How can you realize that? And it's very exciting. Like, I remember me and my friends in Alpine, like, talking about, oh, maybe that could be some kind of good business we can do. What can we do about this? Talking with the teachers about that. Okay, 90% of those do not really have a following, but it's more about the spirit and what can you do. The idea that, not when you have an idea or like a little seed somewhere in your mind, not to let it go, but to actually, trigger on it and develop on that and create something new, like offer something new to people, something they've never seen, like that kind of things is something that Alpine really provided me really well with, I would say.
Could you please tell me about how well prepared were you from Alpine to begin and operate your own business with things such as logistics and accounting? Were you prepared, besides of being a chef, for also having and managing your own business?
This is a really good question, and many of my friends around, when I tell them that I have this company, well, I'll be honest with you, during coronavirus it was not operating, obviously, but before the coronavirus, my friends were always asking me, but how do you know how to do such a thing? How do you know how to get your finance in order? How do you know how to make a salary slip and that kind of things? And I was like, well, I did a cooking school, but Alpine Center is not simply a cooking or hospitality school. Sorry, it's also a business school. And this is what we learn: cost control, menu planning. Like, I knew how to make a business plan. I didn't need to look up on the internet exactly how should I structure a business plan, what do I have to do, how do I conceptualize, what's my business idea, what's my business model, how do I make the money, how do I make my customers really happy, how do I make sure they come back, like all those little marketing tools. You learn them in Alpine, especially if you go for the third year, which I really, really do advise. I didn't have the chance to fully complete it, but who tells about the future? But I would definitely say go for the third year, because this is where you're going to really finalize all those little things that if you happen to open your own business or work with someone opening their own business for a startup company or something, you're going to need those. And Alpine will give you those. They will give you those. Obviously, you have to be disciplined and put yourself at work, because the school is hard. It's a good school. It requires a lot of studies. But if you're motivated, you're going to have all the skills you need to open a business. You will know how to do your business plan. You will know how to do a salary slip, as I said. You will know how to draw dynamics for a business. You will not be scared. It's going to be a big amount of work to get done, but you have the skills to do so. And above the skills, I think you have the motivation, because Alpine showed me that opening a business is not something that belongs to a certain fringe of the population. Anyone can do that if you have a good idea. You just have to, sorry for the expression, but get the guts to do it, you know? And Alpine did give me that.
That's fantastic. And I also want to mention what you said, which is for culinary arts students to pursue their third year for the bachelor degree, which is something, as Francois said, very important for your
It is.
Dear Francois, my next question would be, could you please share with us a memory that you have from Alpine throughout your years as a student that still live with you today?
Well, I have a lot, to be honest with you. Okay, I'm gonna just pick the best, you know, like obviously maybe a bit more quite a personal memory. Like there was this beautiful, because this is worth mentioning, Alpine is set in probably one of the most beautiful setting that you can find all over Europe. And this is where Alpine is set. So obviously, I remember me and my friends coming out of the school, grabbing a bus to what they would call the Limonacchia, going to those beautiful coves and just sitting down there and reflecting upon life and friendship and just looking at each other and being like, look at us studying in such a good and beautiful school in this beautiful environment. We felt so grateful and blessed to be there, you know, really. And those have happened so many times, and we will just never get bored of that. And let me tell you something, you know, that when I go back to Vouliagmeni/Glyfada, this is always the first spot I go to, because this is where I remember all my friends from Alpine and all that. That was mostly on my first year, but we also have really good memories with my chefs, of course, because as I said, you know, the chefs in Alpine, despite being the greatest chefs you can find in Greece, they're becoming your friends. I have to say, like, I have chefs in Alpine that I am now still talking to, and whenever I have a question, I'm talking to them. The teacher of Mediterranean cuisine has become, I would say, one of my greatest mentors. Definitely, and I think that will be for life. I'm going to remember that chef for life, you know. And obviously, same with my other chefs. So, a bit more of a very teacher-student relationship that turns to become a very friendly relationship, you know, that with people that are going to bring you a lot in life and will be really following up on you. How are you doing, and everything. When do you come back, and all of that. So yeah, and maybe also I have to say a good memory that I have is that on the second year, I was myself the president of the student council of the school. And we did organize quite a few events. We launched different classroom help to help other students. We organized different trips through the city and all of that. And it was just beautiful and grand. Like, obviously there's so much more we could have done, but there's always something you can say, you know, but those are beautiful memories to see that we were working to get the students to create a more of a intimate feeling within the school, and that's been pretty successful, at least to my knowledge and to the reason I got. So that's also a very, I would say satisfying feeling for me, because I feel like I did bring something to the school. And maybe I would close that question by saying also maybe one of the greatest memory I have as well is something that they included the year I graduated. So my last year in Alpine, I don't know if it's still going on, but it's what they call the All-Star F&B Day, when basically they pick few students, usually those they believe are the most deserveful, and those students are going to cook a proper fine dining meal that's going to be served, let's say, dans les règles de l'art, in the proper art form. And I was selected to be the chef for that day, and that was such a great memory because I knew that it was probably one of my last service as a student in Alpine, because I was graduating, and it was a bit emotional also because I remember our two chefs looking at us in the back, not intervening, just letting us all deal with it. And we did beautiful. We created a nice menu with nice food. The people were very happy. The waiters did a great job as well because they are really good as well, I have to say. It was a very emotional moment, you know, like kind of a goodbye in the kitchen, and thanks for those two beautiful years. And yeah, that's a good memory I have as well, definitely.
Thank you for taking us down to this memory lane of yours. We are very happy to hear about your experience as a chef, as an all-star chef. This brings me to my last question, which is, could you give a message to the current and the future students of Alpine?
Yeah. Well, I would first maybe talk to the culinary students. I would be like, just go for it. Like, eat the knowledge. Just take it and take it for yourself, because I realized afterwards how lucky I was to study with these chefs, and they have so much to bring you. Just come in class and ask the million questions you need to ask. Get shouted at if you need to get shouted at. Just get broken and stand up again, you know, because this is what is going to happen anyway, and you're always going to stand up stronger and stronger. Definitely, like, go up to your teacher and ask for questions. Don't be proactive. Don't wait for them to teach you, because usually, hopefully, if you're studying culinary arts, it's because you already have a pretty good interest in it. So you're probably already, I don't want to say you have your style yet, because you're still studying, and it takes time to develop a certain style of cooking, but you know where you want to go. You always have an idea. Pick that and ask your chef how to go that direction. That's what I like, you know, because the basics, you're going to learn them anyway. And maybe my second advice, but this is, I would say, not just to culinary, but to any Alpine students, would be go for it. Even if it doesn't work, it's fine. I'm going to mention my internship again. I had an issue, and I basically canceled my first plan, and I sent, I'm telling you, I sent 1,000 CVs all over the world. I was just like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to go for something crazy. And this beautiful hotel in the Tanzanian island of Zanzibar replied to me, telling me, you can come, we're going to pay for your plane tickets, we're going to pay for your visa, we're going to give you food, accommodation, everything. And, you know, and I went there, and living in Africa was probably the greatest experience I had in my entire life. Really, really, really it was. And nowadays, the coronavirus crisis has changed the plans, but I was supposed to be working there as a sous chef in this very same hotel to go back and make very good money also, which is important to tell. But despite that, starting implementing a bit more of myself in the kitchen, reaching a managerial position, you know. And this only became possible because I met this guy owning this hotel on this beautiful island of Zanzibar, because I dared to go in this place where I knew nothing, in the deep countryside of Africa. And nowadays, this is the return that I have from it are just so many opportunities. I've talked to some people of this hotel I've worked with that are opening businesses in Zanzibar, and I'm opening businesses with them, and I'm helping them a lot, you know. I'm doing stuff for the community when I was there, or when I'm coming back, all of that, you know. I had this plan to go back, and I'm gonna go back probably next year to work for him again, you know, and stuff like that. That's why, just go for it. It's gonna be tough, but trust me, you're gonna have beautiful treasures on your way, definitely, especially when you come from a school such as Alpine Center.